This video is an update on my 2002 E46 M3. We found some rust, we made some new brake lines, I installed a new prop shaft bearing, then we changed the crank seal and forgot to buy a gasket, and then I tried to install a clutch multiple times. There's also a strong waffle factor going on in this video, where I'm going to tell you about my vision for the future of this car. Now then, welcome to another video. This is actually day 2 of working on the E46, but I'm going to get rid of yesterday because it was a big waste of time. But the intro, I'm going to still play the intro for you so you can have an idea of what the crack is. Basically making the E46 more racy. Not saying I'm going to race it, but I just thought, well, life's too short to have, you know, it's my car, right? I'm just gonna make it fast on track and hopefully have like, well, I wanna be really fast at the ring in like an E46, basically. Yeah, I know it's, oh, you shouldn't be going to the ring to go. Well, that's what I want to do, right? We'll just do track days and stuff at the ring. Sound good? Anyway, I'm gonna play the intro, tell you some more about what's going on here and why there's so many boxes laying around, because I've been buying loads of bits for it. But he'll play that intro. I had a bad time yesterday. We're gonna get rid of that. I'll explain more in a second of why it was a bad time. But yeah, E46 engage race car mode. All right, chaps, welcome to another video. This video is all about the E46. We're going to try and lose some weight. The old weight was 1380 kilos. We're going to try and get it under 1300. I've decided to just go kind of, I can't swear at the start of the video, but basically we're just going to, kind of what I did with the DC2, where I thought let's just make it rapid on track. We're going to try and get the car under 1300 kilograms, which is a lot, right? But it was 1380 before, and they're over 1500 standard, these cars. So we've already lost over 100 kilos, but we're going to try and lose another 80 or so more. We're going to do that by doing the usual stuff: plastic rear windows, we're going to remove the heaters, the air conditioning, we're going to fit some lightweight panels here and there, get rid of the carpet, do some interior stuff, hopefully get it under 1300 kilos. If we do get it under 1300 kilos, or if it is exactly 1300 kilos, that will equate to being 269 brake horsepower per tonne, which is exactly what the Integra was in its peak. So that'll be fun, won't it? Yes, definitely, Dan, it will be fun. I'm glad you agree. So I've got loads of bits from all over the shop. I've been buying bits from Poland, from Preston, from Plymouth maybe, or Devon Ways, T7. Got loads of bits, got some maintenance bits as well. I've got a new bearing for the prop shaft, I've got some new bushers, I've got a new crank seal. We're going to pick up basically where we left off. I've already been doing some work to the car last weekend. I've been just finishing off the underbody protection. Right, here's just some quick videos I took when I was checking out the rust. I didn't make too many videos when I was working on the car here because super messy job, and I've done all this on the Integra before, and it's just you know, it's never a nice thing, it's never a nice experience. So I had a little bubble near my side skirt for a while. I've been meaning to take the side skirt off, so I did that and found a lovely slab of the orange stuff, but luckily it wasn't too bad. It was pitted, but it hadn't made any holes or anything like that, so I just got rid of the rust and sealed it up. Now the rest of the car wasn't really too bad. It was just kind of surface corrosion here and there. I had to stop myself from going absolutely savage with this. Now this was back in August, and at the time I was thinking, yeah, I really need to crack on with this so I can get the car back out on track for this year. I only concentrated on the areas that were obviously rusty or corroded, and then the areas that I couldn't get to, I just used a bit of cavity wax just to try and you know, protect those areas a little bit. But yeah, here's what I ended up with. So I used Jotun epoxy primer. So everything that's in primer here was bare metal, and then I just went over the top of this with some black spray paint. I didn't end up doing it all. I just concentrated on the rusty bits here, which were annoying me, and yeah, that's now epoxy sealed and no more rust. So that should last a little while. We'll probably revisit it maybe at some point and do the full, you know, because the front end needs a bit of titillating as well. But on the subframe, I'm still waiting for some parts. I'm still waiting for some solid bushers and some rear trailing arm. The rear subframe is going to be either solid mounted alloy bushers, solid bushers, or it's going to be sphericals. There's going to be no rubber and no poly other than the little D bushers that go around the anti-roll bar. Everything else is going to be either spherical or solid mounted. Oh yes. The transmission is going to be solid mounted, and I've also got some stiff engine mounts. So yeah, it's going to be completely different. And if we get the weight down a little bit, it should drive pretty mega. Now in those really nice boxes over there, we've got some really nice tyres to go with as well from Yokohama. We've got some AD09s which we'll be trialling out when we do get back to the ring, hopefully this year. I'm going to try and get there. We might not make September, I'm going to try and make October, which by the time you're watching this, I might actually be at the ring. Oh God, imagine that. I'm a few weeks behind on the videos. What have we got here? I've got loads of packages. I've got, these are just new rear bushers. Well, not bushers, they're spherical on the E46, the inner hub. Crank seal, we've got some new brake lines, some heated ducts. These swung it for me, right? These are from T7. These are ducts that go in the factory kind of defrosting kind of channels, or whatever you want to call it, from the factory HVAC stuff, and that allows us to plumb in a little micro heater, and it'll allow us to use the factory, the factory ducting, which, yeah, that sold it for me. I thought, yeah, let's just do that. We've got a floor plate from SW because the factory carpet, when you remove it, leaves a big hole on the 3 Series. And anything that we take off that's still good, because a lot of this is still going to be good, we'll keep for this guy. The rear camber arms, for example, hard race rear camber arms, but I've bought these PMC ones because they're spherical ends. So we've gone for some, I say everything's going to be spherical on the rear ends now. We've got a shifter as well, bought a PMC shifter. So I was umming and ahhing about these for a while, and then it turns out the lad with the S13, he's got a BMW gearbox on it, the 1JZ S13, and he uses this shifter, and I used it. I thought it's nice, it's ideal, it's exactly what I wanted. You know, it raises the shifter, which is what I wanted because it's a bit too low. I've got the factory shifter in there at the minute, but with an F10 M5 gear knob, and it's just a bit more stubby than where I'd like it, so that should raise it up and feel real good. We've got other little things from these guys, some more sphericals for the rear end, but let's do mechanical stuff and leave the interior until we're at a point where we can get into the interior a bit nicer. Makes sense, right? And then we'll have less mess and less chaos. So what we're going to start with brake lines, which I learned a bit on the bogey bastard on the drift car before, but I brought a proper tool now off the, it said brought again, fuck, what's happened? I bought a proper tool now, so we should be able to do the ones in the car. I was going to do the full line front to back, but I've just had a look and the lines look alright, so I think we'll just join them halfway down. Both rear lines were seized, so even though it's had one line in the past, it's seized again since. I mean, it's 21-year-old car now, this, so, you know, these things happen. Right, so what we'll do then is, we'll come down here. We might be able to undo that, or we might want to take it back anyway, but yeah, the lines are fine from here all the way up, so nothing to worry about there. We'll just see the copper one there, that was seized, and the factory one on the other side, that was knackered as well. But if we do this, route the lines up where they should be, this is a, what's that? That's for the fuel tank. We can get the fuel tank back on, is what I'm saying, and that'll be one less thing on the floor. And then if we get the crankshaft oil seal done, which is leaking, so yeah, glad you remember me saying I didn't think it was leaking. Well, there's oil on it now, so what does that tell you? Yeah, I've still not got the flywheel back yet, and it turns out the clutch, I've ordered a sash, an organic clutch, meant to be quite a nice clutch, but yeah, there was a 2-week lead time. I didn't realise that dowel needs fixing as well, but we can get the crank seal done. We can get this done, and we might start stripping the front end to get the aircon compressor and stuff like that off. The bumper's got to come off anyway, because I've got a splitter there from Dark Side, and I've got a splitter mount kit for this. She's getting a front splitter. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. So we are going to lose some weight, but we are going to add some weight as well. But I think it will be worth it. I think it will be worth it. Yeah, brake lines. I'm sure it'll be all right. I'll let you know how I get on. And then hopefully we can get the fuel tank back on and everything, yeah? Sound good? Alright, just on the first brake line, yeah, hoping I can get it looking a bit better, but I mean, it's there, right? One thing I really struggled with was the curliness of the wire. This might be a bit of a noob moment. I can tell you again that I've never done this before. I mean, we did learn how to do it on the bastard in the rain in an emergency, but just seen a thing online and we're gonna try it. I was looking for ways to straighten brake line, because I reckon if it's straight then it might have a better time. And some guy, it's on like a TikTok or something, he drilled a hole in some wood, which I've just done. So this is 3/16 and I've done a 5mm hole in the wood, and if we pull on this, then I mean, it's got some friction, but it might straighten it out. I don't know, let's find out. It's not perfect. It was a lot more perfect on his. If I had a 3/16 drill bit, maybe we should try like a 4.5 and a wiggle. I guess 4.5 is closer than 5. Let's try that. I mean, it's definitely more straight, but I wouldn't call it straight. Yeah. Anyway, try and do the other side. The other side's the big one, so this could be fun. Oh no, the worst thing has happened. Not the routing, no, but for some reason this will need, I mean, she will need go, Captain. It just keeps spinning off, like the threads are fucked or something. I can thread a blank one in, no problem, but you know, the threads are a bit chewy on this now. I've cleaned them up, sent it again, and she just will not bite. This one was a bit tight as well. They're, you know, the faces, the din bubbles, yeah. So obviously really showing inexperience, not really knowing what I'm doing here. Can you tell what I'm trying to do wrong? Obviously a lot of you can clearly see what I'm doing wrong. Have I mentioned in this video that I don't know what I'm doing much yet? No? Brake lines? What am I trying to do wrong here? Stuff, everything, a lot of stuff. It might be 2023, but two male ends cannot go together. Not in this application anyway. So the reason it won't button up is because there's no space for the thread, there's no crushing going on. It's just male to male, it doesn't work. Yeah? It's Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. Anyway. My solution to this was to cut down the fitting. So that they're going to be tight, maybe I need longer threaded unions, I don't know. Pretty annoying, man. Like, I'm going to have to chop them off now and do new ones, I guess, but that's annoying, man. Yeah. No, it's just threads. Yeah, we like the threads. Might need to clean that up a little bit more with a filio, but yeah, works. Guess how long I've spent doing these brake lines? You won't be able to guess, and they still look garbage. I mean, better than corrosion, but not even completed at the end. Look at the state of this. I got here about midday, 12, just before 12. It's now 6:30. I surely haven't spent 6 hours doing 2 brake lines, but I kind of think I have. I blame the weather. It's real hot. What I'm doing now, fuck off, is time to start bolting things back on the fuel tank. Now, when I took the car apart, I put everything in bags together. That's gearbox, clutch, half shaft, prop shaft, and then all the subframe bolts, exhaust bolts, And the first bolts I've gone to put back in are the straps, fuel tank straps. Can't find the bolts. Can't find the bolts. Can't find the bolts. Can't find the bolts. Yeah, man. It's turned into a bit of a shitter today, isn't it? We'll be back tomorrow to continue, don't worry. Right, that's it from today. A full day, pretty much. Full working shift. And we've got the fuel tank on and done 2 brake lines. Tomorrow's a new day, more success. I can talk a lot of shit at the start, can't I? But actually doing it's another matter. But we'll get there. See you tomorrow. Do you want to know the funniest thing about yesterday? About all that? We had a meeting with the inspector.
Yes mate, you have been a right numpty because you was doing that thing again where you do before you think, and you were not thinking, you were just doing. And it is the way that you learn, I know, but I am sick of it, mate, because we spend so much time up here just doing things without thinking of doing things, and then you don't research anything until you get here, and then you look at it for 2 minutes and get bored, and then decide to just try and figure it out for yourself. I am sick of it, mate. We spend far too long trying to figure out how to do things which most people would find very simple, and to be honest, I have had enough.
Those brake lines are still wrong.
You knobhead.
So yeah, I did end up getting these brake lines done, just about, but I had a real bad time on the fittings here. It turns out what I was doing, I was being quite silly. I mean, I'm new to this, brake lines, and you know, I always find stuff out by doing it wrong, right? And this time I did do it wrong. You can see the leaking actually. Can you see it's leaking? Can you see? No, you can't see, but it's leaking because I tried to basically join 2 of these DIN flares, these BMW specific, European car specific flares, kind of male to male. I tried to join it together, and that's why I was having a bad time. Long story short, I've ordered some joiners now, thanks to Neil Young, the actual, I don't know if it's the actual Neil Young or not, but he's on the Discord. Yeah, he jumped in and told us how to do it right. So yeah, join the Discord if you want car advice, because I'm getting loads of car advice on there, mechanical wise anyway, yeah. But we're going to continue today. The fuel tank's back on the car. I'm going to put the rest of the fuel tank stuff on. We can't do the subframe yet, I'm still waiting for some parts. But yeah, today we're probably going to do the prop shaft bearing and the crank oil seal next. But I'm going to have a little bit of a tidy up first, and then we'll start with the prop shaft, I think. One thing I've not mentioned yet on the video, you might notice, this thing's looking a bit funky. Well, yes, it is. I'll show you quickly so you can work out what's happened. Can you work out what's happened? So this car has, I mean it's currently laid on the floor, a 3.9 ratio diff, right? This was a 4.1 ratio. Thought it was a bit too short for the Nürburgring, so I'm going to fit the 3.9 out of this. The standard ratio is 3.6. So 3.6 to 4.1 made a huge difference. 3.9 in this still feels pretty short. I think it'll be better for the Nürburgring though. There's too much gear changing going on and not enough making most of that massively torquey. Did you know that this is the highest torque per litre M engine naturally aspirated ever produced? More than the McLaren F1, more than the V10, more than the V8. Did you know that? Did you know it's an over-square engine? Do you know what that means? I had to Google it as well, but it's pretty cool. It's got big fat balls. Short stroke. Right, we're going to have a look at this bearing on the prop shaft, which is this guy. So this hadn't failed, but we're just doing a bit of preventative maintenance. That's cool. So this is a Febby Bilstein part. I've bought loads of. I've heard some people say they don't like this brand, but I've had loads of stuff and it seems all right. I don't know, but it comes with a coil bearing. That's cool, isn't it? JDM bearing. So I guess they make the housing and yeah, just slot a coil bearing in. That's cool, isn't it? I like that. I don't know what the original bearing will be. I guess we'll find out. So it's not failed as such. I have had concerns about it before, but it's the original part, and while it's out, we may as well get it out. So the prop shaft comes apart with a bolt here. We'll have to make. I've paint marked it there. I don't know if that's where it splits though. We'll find out in a minute. How are we gonna Stella, can you I guess we could put it in the vise, but it's rather large, isn't it? Is there anything else we could do? No. Vise. No, how are you going to torque it up even? That's no. Okay. Let's put it in the vise. Oh, why has that got CV grease over it? Oh, she's tight. Alright, I got it. 18mm ratchet spanner would be alright right now. Okay, we need to mark it somewhere else, because that is part of this. And the rubber's split, so I don't know if that bearing went there. Problem I've got here is I made 2 marks, but if they both line up, then we know we're roughly in the right place. Yeah. Can't do much else. The reason I'm marking it is because prop shaft's balanced, isn't it? So you have to make sure it's still balanced. CV's still good. This is pretty tedious. That doesn't look like it lines up, does it? That one does. Note to self, one of them's not perfect. I wonder if a 19 ratchet spanner would have spun that out. It's the wrong size, but there's the bolt. We'll clean that and get a bit of thread locker on it. Right, there we go. Didn't bend the shim, did I? No, okay. Now the bearing cover. So the old bearing is also Koyo. It's good, isn't it? I guess the rubber's just there as a damper. But yeah, look, I don't know if you can see on the GoPro, but it's pretty perished. We need a puller, don't we? Fuck, I don't have a puller. But even if we do pull it off, even if we do pull it off, we're going to be fighting against this rubber. I mean, we can try doing the old tappy, but I don't thinky. And the rubber cover's coming off, then we can maybe pull the bearing off. Pardon? Oh, there we go, it all came off in one. I thought we were going to need a puller for that. Never mind. So, you butt up against that. Do you have any grease? Can we use the old bearing to tap it on? Oh, that must have been ready for going, right? I mean, I know I've just hit it with a hammer, but... I think that's on all the way. Maybe a little bit more. That's pressing on the inner race, right? I think so. Yeah, I think that's all the way. So that butts up against that. We just need some Loctite for this. Maybe clean the thread a little bit. Look at this bearing kit I brought. I said it again. Oh, so you won't have seen this yesterday. Maybe I can edit it in, but I said brought instead of bought twice. I've just done it there a third time. I don't know where it's come from. I'm feeling quite ashamed. But yeah, I bought this off eBay. I was looking at like a big tap and die kit, and these are about 150 quid or something, right? For like 100 like over 100 pieces, I think it is. And I was like, thinking about it. And then, why are the 12s so big? That's annoying. I was thinking about it. And then, out of nowhere, this one popped up for 40 quid. And I was like, it looks the same, but is it the same? So I bought it anyway. And yeah, it seems like, you know what happens like with China, right? With all there's a few tool brands in the UK, you know what I'm talking about, right? They all just get it from China now, which is fair enough, that's how the world works. But like, the same factories can knock it out unbranded. And I've had this with loads of different tools. They can knock it out unbranded. And yeah, that's what we're seeing here, I think. I did buy something posh as well. Finally got my own thread chaser. Thread file, sorry, not chaser. We can probably just knock out the sealant by hand, right? Yeah. Who needs a tap or a die? That was the wrong size anyway. But yeah, I reckon, like, you know what I mean, right? There's if you look at tools on eBay, which I do, I do buy some decent tools, but you know, I'm a home gamer, right? And I'm not cutting new threads, I'm only cleaning old ones. So why not? If not, then why not? We'll see how it goes. Obviously it's not going to be perfect, is it? But all I needed was I needed a 14 by 1.5 to do the diff bolt on that diff, because it was a bit dodgy, the front one. 14 1.5. I ended up buying a full, yeah, Nick Drake. And it's got plug taps and tapers, so. And what else did I buy? This was a Kevin recommendation. We'll try it now because I've not tried one of these before. This is a socket rail just for taps. Am I really trusting my expensive drive shaft with a £40 eBay tap set? Well, I don't know. Lovely. I remember saying one of them wasn't perfect, but now they're... I mean, gotta be it, right? Probably should have had eye protection on for that. Fuck. It's probably a bit too much thread locker, but at least it might do the thread lockings. Oh, if this ain't the fiddliest thing. You are older than me. Can I torque this up if I put that? Find a way of, can somehow rig something up with like a bolt and a bolt. Maybe this would work. I swear, I think I've seen people do this, but I don't know if maybe I'm dreaming. So if I put that in there and then torque that, will that? Where's the torque wrench? Hopefully I'm not torque multiplying. It's only 75 Newton meters. Well, only. I mean, obviously that's a significant amount, but I thought it might be more. And that feels pretty tight, man. I don't know if we should carry on wrenching on that. Interesting. Let me know if I've just made a big mistake. I know you love it. In fact, I'm going to take a picture and ask the Discord. Will you sit on there? Hey, don't fall off. The Discord will know. I'm just having a look at the EVAP tank. So the fuel tank's off slightly again, don't worry about it. I'm just looking at the lines and the routing and stuff. So this is an EVAP, so it's just for fuel vapor, this, right? But I've noticed sometimes when I brim the tank, sometimes it does a little fuel wee, so I'm trying to figure out where that's coming from. Now this did have a little filter on, I've just taken it off, but when I got rid of the, there used to be a charcoal canister there, got rid of that back in the day, and I thought it might be something to do with that, but this should just be vapor. But so it returns to the tank, or this line here would go to the charcoal canister, so it should only be vapor, so how would it be coming from there? It doesn't make sense, right? But if you properly brim the tank, then I guess fuel must be able to get in here, but I don't understand how, you know, it would have to be like super brimmed to then come up through there, right? So, I mean, I think one of the problems that I had as well was that this breather was down here, and maybe it was, you know, when it's in the car, it's quite low. So I'm going to move the breather up near the top anyway, the filter anyway. So I'll put that up here somewhere. And yeah, hopefully that, well, I don't think it's going to solve it, but it's just a bit weird, isn't it? I thought about deleting this entirely, but apparently it's got some kind of valve in it to, basically if I roll the car, then this will stop fuel pouring out everywhere. So, I mean, it probably weighs maybe a kilogram, maybe. Yeah, maybe a kilogram all in, but if I got rid of all the lines and everything, then I might be able to do something, but I think we'll come back to it in the future and do it properly with this kind of rollover protection. Obviously none of these, the MR2 are, you know, these don't have rollover protection, but yeah, let's just keep it in for now. I was thinking about what I was gonna do is get rid of this line here, put the filter there, and then kind of loop these two. These are just vents for that, so yeah, it would still vent, but no, we'll just keep it going as is. Just curious where the fuel's coming from, but never mind. Right, we're gonna have a look at the crank seal now. Out. Kind of nice to see that it is leaking. It's always good, isn't it? So we've got two 13mm head bolts, 4 10s. This comes out in a 1er, I think, and then we, yeah. I did actually watch a video on this, so I remember it a little bit. I know we have to put some sealant along the bottom edge here. Oh. There's two at the bottom there as well. These bolts, I think they've got sealant on them as well. There's sealant in the bolt holes. No, the lower ones are shorter. It's a different grade. It looks like a steel bolt and that's a alloy bolt. So the bottom two are on dowels. This one is not. There we go. There is a gasket there. Is it part of the sump gasket? You'll be able to see better than me, being a bit higher, but. Ah, there was a little smidge of sealant on there as well. Filthy. Not perfect, but better. Right, gonna get the sealing now. I'm just following a guide online here, so I mean you can go and watch it yourself, but just using the old seal to tap the new one in.
I spent a lot of time on this. The video is playing at 8 times speed and it's still going to be too long. I'm going to have to cut it off, but one thing I didn't do here, which was a bit silly really, is use any lubrication. Yeah, when tried to go in dry and paid the price a little bit, but just a thin film of some grease would have helped here, I reckon. We're going to do a lot of bearing and bush installs and seal installs in the next video, and I get quite heavy on the grease, but for some reason here I didn't bother, and yeah, it was a pain in the ass. I was lucky to not rip the seal, to be honest.
Alright, I'm going to postpone this job for now. I just realised when I was putting this back together there's a little gasket behind where the crank seal sits, so I shall replace that. Although it would be nice to stop the sump leaking. I'm going to change the oil anyway, so it's not the biggest worry. I just could do without the drip on the floor. This needs cleaning up as well. It's in all the shit inside there. Bad, isn't it? Yeah, there's this black you can see here. So I've just checked online and it's £8 delivered, so I'll get one of them ordered. And yeah, the clutch is not going to be here for at least another week, so no dramas. Cold today, innit, dog? Right, I've got a E46 update. Hopefully this is the right pressure plate. Took a few weeks to come from the Germans. Right, we're going to try it in a moment. I've had a bit of a bad time. Well, this is certainly taking a lot longer than what I thought. I think the strip down was 2 months ago now and the car's been stuck on the ramp since. I've had to buy a new bearing pulley kit because the bloody expensive one that I bought last year, whenever it was, Mechanic, do you remember? I say expensive, it's only about, I don't know, nearly 100 quid I think it was. And it has all the sizes in the world, but nothing big enough for a wheel bearing, so I had to buy another kit. Just trying to get this rear wheel bearing out. I've stripped the trailing arms. I'm actually going to take them to a powder coaters, which I've had, you know, I was a bit underwhelmed by some of the powder coating stuff done before, but I did also drive the car in at least 2 winters, so maybe, and Ed had some stuff done on his Skyline, same place, same time, and it all still looks pretty fresh on his, so yeah, we're going to get the trailing arms and some other bits. So I was going to paint it, but I started stripping off the old powder coat and I was like, this can't be arsed, man. We're going to get these aqua blasted. They should look nice and fresh. These are just the alloy spring perchers, and we're also going to get the calipers and the carriers aqua blasted, I think, as well, or sandblasted maybe, just cleaned up. We're not going to get them powder coated, but we're just going to get these cleaned up and maybe just I don't know, maybe throw some. That's alloy, so you know, I don't really. Maybe I'll look at something to protect it, but these will probably just paint like a light coat of silver or something like that. But the exciting part for me right now, our ABS sensor wouldn't come out. I'm gonna have to buy new ones. But c'est la vie, huh? Yes, dog, c'est la vie. I'm hoping now I can get this out with this new kit, so let's find out. Alright, big update. The ordeal is over. The M3 officially has hand clutch. Oh yes, lovely stuff. So this is an RPC flywheel, the Tegular ones. I don't know if you can get them from anywhere else, but a lot of cup cars and stuff in the UK have got them. And in order to get a pressure plate to fit that, you need to get one from an E36 5-speed. So I've got the 240mm clutch disc in there, the organic race clutch from Sash. And the pressure plate is from an E36 5-speed. I think an E34 M5 would fit as well, but this is the one that was confirmed. I think they're probably the same. I don't know if there's a difference in... People were saying online that sometimes M5 pressure plates have stronger springs, or whatever this centre thing is. I don't know, it's not a spring, is it? But she's in. Yes, aligned as well, hopefully. I mean, it looks like it might have gone a bit squiffy when I was nipping it up, but yeah, boy, I'm sure she'll be alright. Anyway, I'm going to look at the shifter now, may as well, and then we'll get the box back in today. Good times. Well, they didn't really explain much about the dilemma of getting this clutch and flywheel installed. How can you make a clutch and flywheel install become a dilemma, Dan? Well, first of all, I bought a cheap flywheel off of the internet. A lightened flywheel for an E46 M3. That'll cost you a pretty penny, right? No, I saw it online from an internet man for £100. And I bought it, and I was planning to put it on the 330 last year, you might remember. But for some reason it didn't fit the 330, it's weird, it'd bolt up, but the clutch wouldn't fit. Strange. Anyway, so I got this flywheel, £100. I took it to a machine shop to have the face cleaned up, because it was a bit burny. So we're a couple of £100 into this flywheel now, still less than new, but we're invested. So I ordered a new clutch from Darkside, a race clutch from Sash, or Sax, I don't know how you say it, and Cordon Floor. Ordered a new clutch from these. It's an organic full face, but a sintered material, I think they call it, or I might be saying this wrong, but it's a sporty clutch which should feel okay, not too savage, but it doesn't have any springs, so it's still going to be a bit chattery. But anyway, long story short, didn't fit. You what? It didn't fit. So, long story short, the pressure plate wouldn't bolt onto the flywheel because the PCD, the bolts, was different. Now, it took me a while to figure this out, and I asked just about everyone I could think to ask, but it turns out the flywheel was made for a 5-speed fitment clutch that you might find on an E34 M5 or an early E36 M3. Once I had that knowledge, I was able to get the correct pressure plate ordered. I had to wait for special order from Germany's, and yes, it was a right pain in the arse, but we do finally have a clutch now. There is a slight problem where now my gearbox doesn't fit, doesn't quite bolt up right, but I'm sure that's something else, right? Anyway, that's all from this one. In the next video, we're going to be installing quite a lot of nice new parts to the car. We're going to be refurbishing the brake calipers, and we're going to be ignoring the gearbox problem. I'll see you there.